Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Hakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. This is the brother Yachanan from the GMS Houston camp, and this is just a quick lesson, going into Newspeak, current events, Newspeak, looking at, two words, plead and convince. And, the modern, I'll just get into it, Newspeak. This is Newspeak. It's really comes from George Orwell. It says Newspeak is the official controlled language in George Orwell's 1984, designed to limit critical thought and prevent rebellion against the state by reducing vocabulary and simplifying grammar. It embodies the totalitarian ideology of Ingsoc, reducing language to create thought crime. Says that thinking against the party impossible by eliminating words needed to express it. But the point being here is controlled language. This is designed to limit critical thought. So the scriptures, which were, translated from Hebrew into other languages, Greek, Latin, English, different languages, and in Sirach, the I want to say the prelude, but it's the writing that's before actual chapter 1, the introduction to it. It's letting you know that the Hebrew language, whenever anything is translated from it, force is taken away from it, meaning is taken away from it, power, the energy is lost, in these different translations. And so what you have today is, with the English language, you have many words that are, that are meant to be one thing, like gay, for instance. That's meant to be happy, but now, it represents, happy people, rainbow people. And the rainbow itself was meant to be a symbol of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai's, letting us know that he would never flood the world again, as a token of evidence. So these things have been taken, especially with the wicked in rulership, the wicked in charge, have been taken, and their meanings turned around. So just looking at that, this is Joel chapter 3 and verse 1. Says, "For behold, in those days and in that time," and this is bringing Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, bringing about the end of this world, not the end of the whole earth, but the end of this age, the end of a rulership. This is what's happening in these days, the latter times, because this is the end of the world, the end of an age. Aeon. And who's ruling at the end of this age? Esau, Edom. He's the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it to follow. So in these last days, the Israelites have been scattered all around the world into every nation, speaking the language of those nations, looking like those nations, even believing that there are those nations that they're scattered amongst, but these are Israelites. So Joel chapter 3 and verse 1, "For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem." So one more time. "For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem." So we're being gathered together. How are we being gathered? From the four winds. There's not, right now it's through the word going out. This scripture, the truth being preached, 100%, undiluted truth of, we're telling you who Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God, Yahushai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. We're telling you the truth about those names, about them, who the Israelites are. If you go to Ezekiel 37, the Israelites were in a dead state. And that dead state, being in a captivity, not knowing who we are, our heritage, language, anything, not having the names of the Heavenly Father. And in these days, we have this, the Holy Spirit has entered into us and woke us up. You know, not everybody, but a few Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is chosen. And so at the end of this, when this is going on, we're being gathered together by the word right now. But at the end, we're going to be gathered together into chariots, and being returned to our homeland. But before this happens, you have a World War III fully breaking out, which has started, you know, with Israel and America attacking Iran, which this is what this scripture is actually going into. It says, "For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations, and will bring them down into the valley of Yahweh-Shaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land." So the Israelites have been scattered. Our land has been parted. You know, the hats, they want to have a greater Israel project. They want to turn the land into a casino and a resort. And they have all these plans that they want to do with our land. But you're being gathered together right now in the valley of Yahweh-Shaphat in the Middle East. This is why actually them small hats, they think what they're doing is to bring back the Messiah, their Messiah, not the true Messiah of the Bible, which Yahweh Bashim Yahushua has them deceived. You know, they think it's somebody else coming back, but we, the Israelites, the true Israelites, know what's really going on. So I will gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Yahweh-Shaphat, and I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel. So now when you see this word plead, you know, the modern meaning, let me get that first, and then I'll get the meaning in the scriptures. Since the modern meaning, you would think that's like it says, in the modern meaning of plead. In modern usage, plead means to make an earnest emotional request, to beg or to implore. Let's look at that word for beg. You know, begging, you know, holding your hand out. To beg, to entreat, to plead with somebody earnestly. Okay, it's just saying the same thing. And often out of desperation or deep emotion. So to offer an excuse or justification, plead ignorance, or to formally state a defense in a legal proceeding, such as pleading guilty or not guilty. Okay. But most of the time when you're seeing the modern usage of plead, it's to beg or to be emotional, to emotionally begging. You know, you imagine, you know, somebody on their hands and knees, you know, sobbing, snot dripping down, you know, grabbing at somebody's, you know, on their hands and knees, grabbing at somebody's shirt, you know, or something like that, you know, pleading for them while they, you know, they kind of turning away, trying to, you know, shrug them off. You know, you would look at that as the modern usage of pleading. What's up, Dove? Dove just landed right there above me. So that's how you would think of the modern usage of pleading, which is it's wrong. So this is back to plead right here, Joel chapter 3 and verse 2. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Yahweh-Shaphat, and will plead with them there for my people. So plead, let's look at it here. H8199 Shaphat. It means to pronounce sentence for or against. So a sentence is being pronounced, like a sentence. Let me see if this will pop up. If this will freaking highlight. Wow. Let's try it like this. That's that's not what I was trying to get in there. That's all right. To pronounce sentence for, you know what? Let me try it again. Let's get to etymology. That just the past judgment. Okay, there. That's all I needed from the etym online. Sentence, sentencing to pass judgment. So the Lord is getting ready to judge you. So to pronounce a sentence for or against. So the Israelites, really the elect of Israel, are going to have a sentence for them, meaning a judgment for them, meaning we're going to, the elect, the 144,000, the elect are going to receive mercy, salvation. You know, they're going to be saved from the judgment that's coming. While the 2/3, they're going to be, you know, that they're the 2/3 here in Babylon the Great are reserved for judgment. They're going to be judged. Meanwhile, the elect are preserved from it. They're going to be saved from it. So, by implication, to vindicate or to punish, by extension, to govern. Let's see, to condemn, or that condemn, contend, defend, execute judgment. It says to judge, govern, vindicate, to punish. Let's look at that word for vindicate real quick. It says vindicate, to clear someone of suspicion, justify a belief, or prove a theory right after it was doubted. So to clear someone of suspicion. So the elect are going to be cleared of all, you know, allegations, everything. They're going to be found innocent. And that's of the house of Israel. So back to this. To act as a lawgiver or judge, governor, to decide a controversy, to execute judgment. So to enter into controversy, to plead, to have controversy together. So Yahweh Bashem Yahushai has a controversy against you nations. Matter of fact, I'll get that too. But it doesn't mean to beg. It means Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is coming to judge you nations for everything that you've done to the apple of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's eye, the Israelites. So matter of fact, let's see controversy in Zion. That's Isaiah. Oh man. I think it's Isaiah 34. I'll start at verse 1. Isaiah 34 and verse 1. Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. So that don't sound like Yahweh Bashem Yahushai pleading with you. That don't sound like Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, I should rather say, begging you. That don't sound like Yahweh Bashem Yahushai emotionally begging with you. The only emotions that's really going to be shown is his fierce anger. It's going to be coming out like a fire. You know, his fear, his fiery indignation, meaning righteous anger. So yeah, that don't sound like he begging. Their slain shall also be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. Beautiful. The destruction coming to these nations. And all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down as a leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. So speaking of the mushroom clouds, speaking of the ICBMs, the hosts of heaven being dissolved and the heavens rolled together as a scroll, describing the mushroom clouds. What you see from the thermonuclear destruction from the ICBMs, the MIRVs, the MERVs, as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as the falling fig from the fig tree. And ultimately, this judgment is coming upon Idumea. This land here, Babylon the Great. Idumea is the Greek way of saying Edom. So, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven, and it shall come down upon Idumea. So, the sword is another word for, the missile, the nuclear missile, the ICBM, the intercontinental ballistic missile. It's going to go up into the heavens, into the atmosphere, and then come back down in an arcing formation, and then come down upon Idumea, this land, Babylon the Great. And it sounds crazy. You're here. You're talking about this place being destroyed, but you're here. Yeah. And I'm hoping to make it to the chariots, what the people call UFOs. And it shall come down upon Idumea, upon the people of my curse, the judgment. So ultimately, all the nations, there's a great slaughter, but this slaughter is primarily for you, Esau, Edom. The sword of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of It is made fat with fatness, with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of kidneys of rams. For Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai hath a sacrifice in Basra, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. And the unicorns shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. For the day, big old buttery fingers. For it is the day of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai's vengeance, and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. So again, for it is the day of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai's vengeance, and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. So this day that's coming, this is a day of vengeance. Let's look at that. H5359, Naquam, meaning revenge. This is Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai taking revenge for his people. Matter of fact, if I spell it right. Here we go. This is Deuteronomy 32 and 35. To me belongeth vengeance and recompense. Let's look at that. Naquam, the same word. Let me see what the verse above it. Okay, come on. To me belongeth vengeance and recompense. Their foot shall slide in due time, for the day of their calamity is at hand, and the things that shall come upon them make haste. So I believe this is speaking about us, the Israelites, how terrible we were. Yeah, this is speaking of us. The vengeance is coming upon us. So Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai brought this vengeance upon us. But guess what? He's going to punish those that punished us. Hey, that day of calamity, hey, this is the day, Jacob's trouble. This time that we're in now, it's only going to heat up. So, where was I? So Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai is going to pay these nations back. But for Isaiah 34 and verse 8, for it is the day of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai's vengeance, and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. So that word controversy, H7379, Rayab, says a contest, the adversary, cause leading, controversy, strife, controversy, okay, case at law. So you're being brought to law right now, Esau, Edom, you other nations, for everything that you've done to the Israelites. And Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai is, matter of fact, Let me see. Okay, I was thinking of okay, I was thinking of Genesis 15 and 14, which they already this has already happened, you know. So this is a prophecy of told to Abraham about, you know, the his children, the Israelites, going into captivity, and then the Lord's judging that nation. And so, being that this is one nation, but let me just read it. So Genesis 15 and verse 14, and also that nation, this is referring to ancient Egypt, which this already happened, whom they shall serve will I judge. So, and also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge. So again, we've already been in the Egyptian captivity. We're in spiritual Egypt right now. Spiritual Egypt, spiritual Sodom. You know, here in Babylon the Great, America. But being that this is the same idea, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is getting ready to judge all the nations. Because we've been in captivity in all these nations, but Idumea, Edom, the so-called white man, the hats, these are the top offenders. So, and also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge. So look at that. Let's look at H1777 Dayan. It says to rule, to implicate, to judge, to act as a judge, to contend, to plead. And again, looking at the word plead, it don't mean begging. And Lord willing, this is edifying. But Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, how he judged Egypt was not him begging. That was serious. He cut off their economy, he cut off their military, he cut off their firstborn sons. And not only the sons, you know, of all the men, but all the cattle. You know, it's beautiful. So, you know, knowing this, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is going to bring judgment again, but on all the nations that serve themselves of us. So, and also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. And again, in this time, you know, I feel like I've gone long enough. I might come back and do another part. I only did one part to this, but you know, we'll see. Lord willing, I'll just continue. But we'll come out with great substance. Because why? After this judgment, after this captivity, when all this is going on, we're going to be changed. We're going to be completely changed, and we're going to be far greater than what we are now. This is, behold, the days come, saith Yah. This is Jeremiah 31:31. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. So right now, we're in between. Yahushai has come to signify that the covenant is still going on, that this is still happening, that Yahweh Bashim Yahushai loves us and is giving us a way out. This is for the Israelites. This is the first covenant was for the Israelites. The new covenant is for the Israelites. You know, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, both the tribes that have been scattered all around the world. The word is going out to gather us together to signify that this new covenant is still on and coming fast. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was an husband unto them, saith Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. So not according to the first covenant that we had to make sacrifices that we couldn't keep, that we're in the condition that we're in. really this first covenant, when you go into the laws, everything, when you're looking at the laws, when you're looking at everything that you need to do, you are not perfect, not even close. As a matter of fact, your righteousness is as filthy rags. You know, there's nothing that you can do. You're in the land of your enemies. You're in captivity. The food is defiled. The water is defiled. You know, you're around unclean people like women on their menstrual cycle. You know, your mouth probably bleeds. You know, you're probably blind, got a crooked back. Hey, there's a lot of things that you're not able to keep the laws fully. You know, there's a lot of things that you're not able to do. But through Yahushua, hey, he takes on that burden. He takes on everything that you're not able to do, and all you got to do is believe and do. But again, this is all through Yahushua. Basically, put it short, we need Yahushua. Otherwise, we would constantly be going off and constantly be in captivity. But through this new covenant, that's what we're never going to be in captivity again. It says, not according verse 33, but this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. I will put my law in their inward parts and write in their hearts, and will be their power, and they shall be my people. So the law is going to be put within us, in our inward parts, meaning it's going to be ingrained in our DNA, in our minds, to where we can no longer, disobey. Like what I'm thinking of going to is Deuteronomy 28. You know, if you started the first verse to the 14th verse, hey, that's all the blessings that are going to come upon you. But 15 all the way down to the end of the chapter, that's all the curses, all the madness that you're going to have to go through. You know, being blinded, having infirmities, having inflammation, you know, losing your family, your woman walking out on you, your children being sold to your enemies, your wife becoming a harlot, you having an evil eye towards your brethren, you being sold to your enemies, getting a yoke of iron put around your neck, you know, going into captivity on slave ships, you know, worshiping other gods because the enemies that you serve, they worship other gods. And then all that will be a perpetual cycle where now you're stuck. But the Wadi Al Bashim Yahushai, you know, for sending your son to break us out of this cycle. So, but this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their power, and they shall be my people. Because we're in the land of our captivity, where it said, you are not the Lord's people. Matter of fact, I'll read this last verse and I'll get. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick and I'll come back to this. Hosea. This is Hosea chapter 1 and verse 8. It says, now when she had weaned Lo-Ruhamah, she conceived and bare a son. Then said the Most High, call his name Lo-Ami, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your power. So Lo-Ami means La'ah-Imya, meaning La'ah, meaning no or not, and then I'm people, and then Yah, meaning my. So La'ah, no, I'm people, Yah, my. So no people, my, not my people. So then said Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, call his name Lo-Ami, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your power. Yet the children of the number of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, There it shall be said unto them, Ye are the sons of the living power. And where is that? In the land of our captivity. Where have we been scattered to? You're seeing these videos going out. You're seeing the Israelites wearing them ancient garments with fringes, whatnot, out on the streets. This is what our job. We're telling you that you people who have been given a name, a byword over your name, you are the Israelites. You are the Lord's people. So to come back. Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together, by the word, by the 12 tribes sign. The two sticks joined into one. Hey, well, guess what? We're one people again. We're no longer separate. And that's just for us that have been initiated, that have been woken up by Yahweh Bashim Yahushai's word. We're all come back together and appoint themselves one head. Who is our head? Yahushai. He came to save Israel. And they shall come up out of the land, for great shall be the day of Jezreel, or Yazari Allah. So he seated a power. So Yah, he, Zarai meaning seed, and Allah meaning power. So we are the children of God. We are Yazari Allah, the seed of the power. And Yahushai being that head. So this is Luke 1:68. Says, Blessed be the Lord, Yahweh, power of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people. Redeemed, meaning, what does that mean? What does redeem mean? G3085, litrosis, a ransoming, redemption, deliverance from the penalty of sin. And ultimately, but the 2/3, they're gonna have to pay on this side. But the elect are going to be delivered. So redeem, but the 2/3 going to be back in the kingdom too. They're going to get a clean slate. It says ransoming, redemption. That's to buy back. It says, for he have visited and redeemed his people. This is that what I was reading in Jeremiah 31. This second covenant that's coming, and Yahushai was the mediator of it, you could say. It says, Blessed be the Lord Yahweh, power of Israel, for he have visited and redeemed his people, and have raised up an horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David. So this is Yahushai. He have raised up an horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David. It said, the God of Israel, the house of his servant David. This is speaking of Yahushai. As he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us, to perform the mercy promised to our fathers, and to remember his holy covenant, the oath which he sware to our father Abraham, that he would grant unto us, that we, being delivered out of the hand of our enemies, might serve him without fear, in holiness and righteousness before him all the days of our life. So this is what we're looking forward to. And this is what Yahushua is coming to do. To put down these other nations and to save his people. This is what he came to do. So I'm going to go back to Jeremiah 31:31. It says 31:33. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, I will put my law in their inward parts, and write it in their hearts, and will be their power, and they shall be my people. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more. So when Yahushua returns, the elect are beamed up. The 2/3 here in Babylon the Great cut off. The elect are going to be changed. They're going to have the laws put within them, and so are the generations that are going to be born after them. And guess what? There's not going to be the need to teach Israel anymore. There's not going to be the need, to have men set up to teach Israel. Because after this, all of us are gonna have the laws in us. We're never gonna go off again. The only thing to do is to teach the other nations, to beat them into shape. Let me get this. This is Deuteronomy 28:15. 28. I'll start at verse 1. Just going, and the lesson really went a different direction than what I originally planned for. But the water Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, the water. This is Deuteronomy 28 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, because guess what? The laws are going to be put in us. So we're going to be able to do this perfectly. So the thing is, it's not just one person keeping all the laws, statutes, commandments. It has to be the entire nation. The entire nation has to do it. So not just Yahushai, him keeping the laws, he did it perfectly. But he did it so all of us would be able to do it. Not just for himself, but for all of us to come up. It's Deuteronomy 28 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, and to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. So, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. So, we have to do this diligently. This is very, very, diligent process. Everything that from our clothes, everything that we're doing, really, we try our best, but ultimately, we can't do it in these bodies. But in the new bodies, the laws, statutes, commandments put within us, it's going to be natural for us. So these blessings are going to come naturally to us. And guess what? With the laws, statutes, and commandments put within us, it says, the Most High will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. So we're going to be in our rightful place, above all the nations of the earth, instead of being at the bottom. And all these blessings shall come upon thee. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy power. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, and the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. So everything, we're going to be blessed in all matters. Blessed shall be thy basket and thy store. Blessed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and blessed shalt thou be when thou goest out. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way, and flee before thee 7 ways. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai shall command a blessing upon thee in thy storehouses, and in all that thou settest thine hand unto, and he shall bless thee in the land which Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai thy power giveth thee. So all these things, I'm gonna put it like this. These things are hard to imagine in this flesh. It's hard to imagine in this time. Especially before you heard the truth. Because now that you've heard the truth, woken up, hey, guess what? You're the faith that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai gave you increases. You can believe it. But in this flesh, in this body, man, it seems difficult. But just looking at this, knowing that we're going to be changed and we're going to be blessed beyond anything. So all we got to do is believe. This here ain't it. And we try to keep the laws, statutes, commandments the best we can do. But we know ultimately we're going to fail. You can't do it, but you rely on Yahushai. Because he's already done the big part. He came to be a sacrifice for our people so that we could have hope in this. With knowing that the laws, statutes, and commandments are going to be put within us and that these blessings are going to happen if you can keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. And this ain't just for me, it's for the entire nation. Even the 2/3, those that are going to be cut off are going to be, subject to this. Those that ultimately failed, they are going to be blessed. It says, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai shall command the blessing upon thee in thy storehouses and in all that thou settest thine hand unto, and he shall bless thee in the land which Yahweh Bashem Yahushai thy power giveth thee. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai shall establish thee in holy people unto himself, as he hath sworn unto thee, if thou shalt keep the commandments of Yahweh thy power and walk in his ways. So it's beautiful, because this is what we hoping for. I don't want to, let me put it, I don't want to have the law, statutes, and commandments, because you have some people that think we're already in the second covenant, but it's ridiculous, because this place has to be destroyed. We have to be changed, and that's all going to be a major thing that happens at once. So if anybody says we're already in the second covenant, I had the laws put within me already, they're lying. But this is something I say this is something to look forward to be able to be blessed. Because you can, like, in this body, it's easy to think of everything that can go wrong. This flesh is mad weak. But to consider the blessings that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai has in store for us, even in these times. Guess what? We're in Jacob's trouble. We're in World War III. And Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, even in these times, in these terrible times that we're in, that are only going to get worse, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is still going to show favor towards his elect, show mercy towards us. So, and all the people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and they shall be afraid of thee. So when the time coming, when Yahweh Bashem Yahushai makes a clear distinction between who serves him, who are the people of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, they're going to be afraid of you, as they should be. And Yahweh Bashem Yahushai shall make thee plenteous in goods, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy ground, and in the land which Yahweh Bashem Yahushai swear unto thy fathers to give thee. So we're going to have the land. It doesn't belong to the people that are over there. It belongs to us. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and wherever else we've been scattered to. Whatever other nation we looking like. It belongs to the Israelites. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai shall open unto thee his good treasure in the heaven, to give the rain unto thy land in his season, and to bless all the work of thine hand, and thou shalt lend to many nations, and thou shalt not borrow. So it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Because right now, if you consider everything that I've been reading, it's the opposite. How many Jake do you know that own cattle? How many Jake do you know that give out loans to other nations, where nations are coming to them asking for a loan? And Yahweh Bashem Yahushai shall make thee the head and not the tail, and thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath, if thou hearken unto the commandments of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai thy power, which I command thee this day, to observe and to do them. And thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day, to the right hand or to the left, to go after other gods to serve them. Right. So that's pretty much it. The law, statutes, commandments are going to be put within us. We're going to be changed. And it's beautiful that we're we're in these times that our forefathers were looking forward to. But that's pretty much it. Hey, Lord willing, this is edifying. I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Hakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. Hey, Shalom.